but it's not a block. It's a lot. Ignacio is devastated. Devastated. The federal police operation has now discovered everything. He was with the chief director of the federal police hours earlier. Andre sent him. But straight up, he lifted the seal on everything that Moraes keeps under seal. Andre ordered to open everything. There was even Hugo Mota. Hugo Mota, with a 22 million loan, and the guys talking about Flavio Bolsonaro's movie. Where are the polls now? I'll show you. It fell. Malu Gaspar. She finished Lula off, and then Monica Bragano destroyed him even more. It's over. I want to see the poll. The poll isn't going to go down because of Lula, right? It's funny, isn't it? Smash that like button. Smash it. Hit the button. Come on, so we can show it. Send it to everyone on WhatsApp, okay? Guys, before that, I want to present an opportunity. I'll show you here, those devils. I always post videos here that I made in the last few days. 2 kilos in a day. Then people say, no, it's just water weight. Look at the images. Look at my face. Look at my face. I only sell the product here because I fully trust it. Look at my face. Look at the image. This really works. It's not even been a year. It's not even been a year, really. I know what I'm talking about. Look. My pants. My pants. Look how loose they are. And look. It already is. Here, I don't put on the seatbelt. You can fit a hand in here. The product works. Obviously, the person has to have, discipline. Dieting is like this. We have to plan. But it helps a lot, guys. It was 20 kilos. 20 kilos that I lost, right? We feel it. After 40. It's a tougher situation to lose weight. It's really harder. Even practicing physical activity every day. And I do. I wasn't able to lose weight. Focus. Discipline. I managed to lose. The images speak for themselves. Look at my face. My face. Totally different, right? So, it's worth it if you don't want to miss this opportunity. An easier way. Natural. Extremely natural. It's a little powder that you add. Right? Especially with those greasy meals. It will help you eliminate fat. To lose inches. The link is right below. A great opportunity to lose weight in a healthy way. With quality of life. It changes everything. Pants that didn't fit before start to fit. Our self-esteem gets much higher. That's a fact, right? The link is right below. For those who don't want to miss this opportunity to lose weight today, okay? Let's go. Jacques Wagner. Look at this sleazy guy, right? Look at this sleazy guy. He received undue advantages. He received an apartment. And 3.5 million reais from Vorkheim. It's that other wing of the federal police that's saying this. That other wing. The chief of the federal police, guys. He was with Lula hours before the operation against Jacques Wagner. He's done for. Calm down. This is inconceivable. This is inconceivable. The daughter-in-law. Look at that. Globo is showing it. Jacques Wagner's daughter-in-law allegedly received the apartment as a form of bribe. Jacques Wagner's daughter-in-law. Everything's falling apart. There's nowhere left for Lula to run. So, what did the minister do, our great hero? He lifted the secrecy on everything. He ordered the search and seizure of Jacques Wagner and all of Augusto Lima. The decision states that there were indications of receiving all that bribe I mentioned to you here. This is the biggest scandal in history. Let's see here, Congressman Luis Lima. He was already denouncing Jacques Wagner. Guys.
Look at this video from December 29th, me denouncing it in the Green Hall. Several names.
Including Jacques Wagner. Search and seizure today at the house of the PT government leader. Watch this video.
We have here Henrique Meirelles, former president of the central bank in Lula's government, consultant for Banco Master. Ricardo Lewandowski, current Minister of Justice of our country, head of the federal police, consultant for Banco Master. We have Guido Mantega, former Minister of Finance under Lula, consultant for Banco Master. We have the law firm of the wife of Minister Alexandre de Moraes providing services. We have Jacques Wagner, Senator, Geronimo Rodriguez, Governor of Bahia, Rui Costa, Chief of Staff, connected to Augusto Lima, partner and CEO of Banco Master. Bring up that chart from Adriana Matos. It's more than complete. Here we see the greatest absurdity in our nation laid bare. This is my 7th year as a federal deputy. Just this year, I spoke 497 times at the podium. I have never witnessed such absurdity in a contract like this. Either we learn to punish those who do wrong, we need to remove Minister Alexandre de Moraes. Even for his own good. Even for the good of the country. For the good of the Supreme Federal Court. This is mockery. We saw newspapers abroad making jokes, saying that the minister's wife only loses to Neymar.
Everything got involved when Luis Lima explained it in detail. This, my friends, as Panzinha Costa says, right? Pan has great influence. This needs to go to the church WhatsApp group. It's in the church group's WhatsApp, right? With the families. Look, check out the scheme. The chain that connects Master, the congressional inquiry into the INSS to Lula's government. Everything was interconnected, one thing with another. Rui Costa justifies the sale of e-ball and the inclusion of the payroll card in the auction, right? Then comes the Credito Sexta. Wagner denies any connection with Master's fraud schemes. If he turns informer, I think that's great, right? That's a blatant lie. He's here. He's signed so there wouldn't be a CPMI and against the plea bargain. Credito Sexta was Master's endless debt scheme. It survived 2 bank liquidations. An INSS report points to a serious flaw in more than 250,000 contracts from Banco Master. Connections with Lula's government, Daniel Vorcaro and Augusto Lima met several times with Lula outside the official schedule. The meetings were arranged by Guido Mantega, who was earning 1 million reais per month from Vorcaro. Because Lula told Vorcaro to employ Guido Mantega, there was no way to put him in the government. Guido Mantega is a former convict. He was a minister here, my God, a minister. He destroyed the country. There was no way for Lula to employ him because of very strong public opinion. So, he asked Vorcaro, hire Manteguinha there for 1 million. The Pelego was receiving 1 million reais. Mantega was later hired as a consultant for the bank, receiving 1 million reais on the recommendation of Lula, Jacques, Wagner, the whole group, right? And Lula's son in the INSS scandal, Careca, right, the main lobbyist of the scheme, mentioned Lula as a partner, Lula's son. Monthly payments of 300,000, 1.5 million in identified transfers. 19 million moved in just 4 years, and the 20 to 25 million they claim to have paid for Lulina. Malu Gaspar went all out. She went all out. Look here. It was a big deal.
That's right, Monica, friends. Good morning to everyone. We're in a rush here, right? With the reporting, not the closing, the reporting. And what I've been able to find out so far is that the federal police has evidence of bribe payments to Jacques Wagner through his stepdaughter's company. But there is also evidence that Senator Jacques Wagner received an apartment valued at 2.5 million reais as a gift in Salvador from the Master Group. And he also regularly flew on planes belonging to the Master Group, owned by Daniel Vorcaro, with arrangements made using algorithms by cell phone, everything.
The broom fell. Call.
Malu fell.
That's why Lula was saying over there in France that he wasn't left-wing anymore, that he was never left-wing, because he knew this scandal was going to come out this week. The federal director met with him. He met with him, guys, look. The music and press. Look at his house. Check out Jacques Wagner's house. Federal police here going all out. It's absurd, isn't it? And here, Mendonça is watching everything. Federal police chief met with Lula just hours before the operation targeting Jacques Wagner. Hours before the federal police carried out the operation against Lula's main right-hand man in the Senate. The director general of the agency, Andre Rodriguez, was traveling alongside Lula. That little cell phone must have been burning up. Calling nonstop, right? Vorcaro attempted to reach the federal police director and attorney general prior to the arrest. The investigation shows the former banker allegedly warned about pressure from the federal police and public prosecutor's office before the operation. And he paid for a whiskey tasting for Moraes, Gone, Toffoli, and the director of the federal police. It was $640,000, a round of whiskey, 3,300,000 reais, a round of whiskey. And here, look, the boss with Lula and Vercaro contacted Gone and the federal police before being arrested. Like this, look, I'm going to jail, so are you guys going to come save me? What are you going to do to help me? Look, they're taking me. The guy called. Guys, this should already be grounds for immediate removal. Immediate. Both the director of the federal police, Gone, and everyone else who was involved. Alexandre de Moura, he can't even get close to an investigation related to Banco Master. That doesn't make any sense. And they got Google Moda too. The federal police found messages asking for the release of 22 million. The audio leaked.
What does it mean to be just a matter of context at the moment? Well. You were aware of this loan. You came, asked him for money, and you were already offering right at that moment.
When you need a loan, who do you look for?
The bank manager,
The bank.
the manager.
And my sister-in-law, who represents my father-in-law's business, approached the bank.
Do you see how shameless this is? Of cynicism? 22 million reais. 22 million reais. Google Gamora should be gone by now. Immediately. And there was more. It didn't end there. Augusto Lima, that businessman from Bahia, a close friend of Lula, sent a message to Jacques Wagner. You're part of this. Conversations indicate that the senator allegedly maintained frequent communication with the businessman Augusto Lima and acted in ministries and on issues of interest to Master. It's all laid out. There's no way for them to escape anymore. Monica Brega herself, right here, look, Operation Compliance Zero rebalances the game. In Master's case. Until then, the pressure was on Flavio. With Jacques Wagner now a federal police target, pressure is hitting the government's political core. Lula has already rehearsed his response. And here's a detail. As for Flavio, there was no apartment. There was no financing. There was no dumping of public money into it without them trying to exploit the situation. Flavio didn't take any money for himself and put it in his pocket because they knew this was going to blow up. That's why they were pushing the narrative against Flavio. That was funding for the movie, and the box office revenue goes to Vorcario. Not here. Vorcario handing over an apartment directly to a relative of Jacques Wagner. It worked like this, just so you have an idea. It was a bank for corrupt politicians, right? They needed to launder money, so just imagine. Kogumoda is going to request a loan of 22 million from Banco Master. Jacques Wagner, an apartment worth millions of reais. Guido Mantega hired for $1 million. Not to mention Ricardo Lewandowski. They haven't gotten to him yet. In the investigations, they may have even concluded, but the operations haven't yet been seen by Ricardo Lewandowski, who was a former minister of the Federal Supreme Court, and later Minister of Justice under Lula. The situation is much more complicated. Now, the main narrative they had against Bolsonaro's film, which was nothing special because they knew that's what it was. Lula will be in Minas Gerais tomorrow. You'll see that he's going to tell a bunch of lies. He'll be in Minas tomorrow. He's going to take down Trump. Yeah, that's it. Right in Trump's face, he didn't even look back. He acted like a little lamb. Now he's going to want to act all tough. There's no Trump around anymore to poke at him, right? You'll see tomorrow. Tomorrow something's going to happen, my friends. Tomorrow. He'll be in Minas, right? Yeah, just hanging around, right? That's what he does most. Let's see what he's going to say there, right? Because they got him, they got his partners, they got everyone. The game's over, Andre. Gilmar wanted to mess around. He wanted to make fun of Andre. Andre is taking everyone down. That's a fact. Go all out sharing this. Share it a lot. Smash that like button. It helps us get more engagement here on the platform. That's why we ask so much. YouTube understands the feedback. That's cool. Let me share it with more people. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There's news here all the time, okay? Every day, every moment, every instant. I'll be back soon here on the channel. Pais e Filhos, Fabiano Gigay.